welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast. My name is Hannah, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. How are you? Happy Saturday! I'm saying happy Saturday to you because you're watching this on a Saturday, even though I am recording this on a Thursday. It's 9:02 a.m. and I have exactly 58 minutes before this recording has to be done and the lights and everything has to be put away because at 10:10 Nova and I have to leave. We have an appointment at 10:30. Going anywhere with a baby takes so much time. She is sleeping. There she is. She just went down for her first nap. So we have so much to talk about. If you're looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram, on Facebook, as the Cozy Cottage on Ravelry. We do have a Ravelry group for this podcast if that's accessible to you. And currently the thing running in there is the Mission Impossible Mal, which is just ongoing forever until I finish my Skyrim Cardigan, which probably won't be until next year, honestly. But I do have some exciting news. Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast, many of you should know her. If you don't know her, you've got to go watch her podcast. She makes the most fabulous buttons. She has an Etsy store, which I will link. She is hosting a make-along for the month of October. So this episode is going to go up like a week before October. And it's called Stashtober21. I will put the hashtag on the screen. And so she is hosting it, and a bunch of other designers have agreed to participate. I am one of them. So I am actually hosting the Ravelry thread for this cow. If you go into my Ravelry group, you will see one titled Stashtober21 Cheddar and FO thread. So I have the Ravelry thread in my group. This will also be hosted on Instagram for anyone who is Ravelry is not accessible to them. We haven't talked about prices, actually. I haven't talked about them with Claudia at all, but I'm sure I will absolutely pull a price or two from the Ravelry thread. What goes on Instagram, I'm not sure, but there's plenty of designers. The list of them is on my phone, so let me see if I can remember them. So there's myself, there is Claudia, of course, of Crochet Luna, there is Clarissa Beth of Crochet Cakes. There's Kalisha, who is Nadira Tani, or the Quirky Monday Craftcast. There is Rosina, who is Zines and Rogers. And there's two more. There's Dora, and I can't remember her Instagram handle. And then there's HG Designs Crochet. And if you go in the Ravelry thread, all of those are linked, or if you go on my Instagram, all of those designers are linked. So the rules for this cow is there's only a couple. It's going to go one from October 1st through October 31st, 1 month. We have 1 month. You must use yarn from Stash. You cannot buy yarn for this cow. You cannot. It's a Stash cow. Go give the yarn in your stash some love. It deserves it, right? So no buying. If you buy the yarn before, you have had to have bought the yarn before you start the cow, for sure. Has to come out of your stash. So October 1st to 31st, must use stash yarn. And then finally, you must use a pattern by one of the participating designers. So that could be myself, Kalisha, Clarissa Beth, Claudia, everyone has names that begin with C, Rosina, any of those designers. We have lots and lots of crochet patterns between us. So pick one of those, and then you are welcome to do a whip as long as the whip is no more than 50% complete by the time the cow starts. So I'm excited about this. I haven't been hosting any cows really this year because it was just kind of out of my bandwidth. But this one, I'm just like being part of, like I'm participating and I'm hosting the Ravelry thread, but I'm not in charge of everything. So that feels a little bit more manageable to me. And I'm really excited, and I'm participating because I'll be working on my own designs using stash yarn. So that's exciting. So it's a week ahead. Go ahead, pick out your pattern, and also pick out your yarn from Stash to use for this cow because I'm excited for us to get started on that. Now, I honestly thought it's been 2 weeks since I recorded. For the first week, I was like, wow, this is only going to be a knitting podcast next time because I have not touched crochet, but I have. I dedicated all of my time to my Skyrim Cardigan, and I made a chunk of progress on it. I still have like 1 billion hours to go on it, and sock knitting for the first week. I have done some other crochet, which I will show you, but I have a finished object. I know it's been so long. I have a finished object and it's a pair of socks. I'm pretty sure last time I was like here-ish on the first sock and maybe here on the second one. So I have done 2 full socks and these are like full length, long socks. I normally make shorty socks. This yarn is Unique Sock, self-striping matching sock kit. It came in this box. You get 2 50-gram balls of 220 yards each. It is a 75% merino, 25% nylon blend, and this is the color pattern. So I have this much left. I haven't weighed these, but they're probably, I don't know, I would guess about 15 to 20 grams each of leftover yarn. So that's 2 socks. I should have started from the middle of the ball. You see where it's blue and orange and then it's pink and green and then it's green and purple. I like that better than this part. This part just really did not speak to me, so I had to just power through it. The way I knit all of my socks is I usually do 64 stitches on my 2.25 millimeter Chalgu red lace 9-inch circular needle. I do 15 rounds of ribbing. I knit the leg for however long I want it to be. I think this is about 6 inches total, I'm guessing. And then I tried a new heel pattern for these socks. So this is the Shadow Wrap Heel by Denise, who is Earth Tones Girl. She has, I don't know where the pattern is, but it's the Socksploration pattern. It comes with video tutorials and everything. So if you've done the Fish Lips Kiss heel, you can absolutely do this heel. And if you haven't done the Fish Lips Kiss heel, I don't want you to worry because she actually has video tutorials where the Fish Lips Kiss heel has just like pictures. I did not look up the video tutorials for this because Denise also has a couple of pictures in her pattern and I was able to know exactly what was going on from those pictures. I have this heel memorized. So I did the first one looking at the pattern. The second one, I glanced at the pattern one time when I started the heel and that was it. So it's that easy. If you've done the Fish Lips Kiss heel, you will have no problems with this whatsoever. And I tried it on. It fits really, really well. So I wanted to get an entire pair of socks done so that I could make sure that the socks fit, that I didn't need to add any more stitches across the instep. And it fits fine. I don't know if it's because, I mean, the heel seems to be shaped the same as the ones that I used to make. So I don't know, maybe my gauge is loosened up. Who knows? But I think I will keep using 64 stitches for the time being. And if I notice my socks getting tighter or the yarn being particularly thin that I'm knitting with, then I will add a couple of stitches before the heel and then decrease the amount after the heel. And then for the toe, I just use, my favorite toe is Mina's Rounded Toe. The rounded toe from Mina's Vanilla Sock Recipe. Mina is the knitting expat. It does this really beautiful little rounded toe. I do not like top down wedge toes that are like really pointy like that. I can't stand them. I don't like how they fit. I don't like how they look. Like, it bothers me. This rounded toe is like so happy for me. What's strange is I don't mind a toe up wedge toe where you start from 12 stitches and increase like this. Doesn't bother me a bit. But these, a wedge toe top down, I don't know if how the decreases work, but it bothers me. So there is my sock. You can see that these are almost identical, but I did the bind off or the Kitchener stitch, it changed color. So I must be like 1 row off, or perhaps the balls of yarn were 1 row off, but they're pretty much identical socks. And as you can see, I have not woven any ends. It's actually a good thing this is poking out because I was almost going to throw these in the laundry. And I haven't woven in the ends. I just realized that. So this is the second pair of socks that I have completed since Nova was born. So that's 9 months. She's been out for 9 months of my body. And this is only the second pair of socks I've completed, which is kind of crazy. But I had some significant sock mojo. I just wanted, to power through these. And there they are, a finished pair of socks. I am in a place of I want to make a few pairs of longer socks because winter, and by winter I mean like 60 to 70 degree weather, will eventually come to Florida and I'll be wearing my boots. And so I really wanted some longer socks to wear with the boots because I find that the shorty socks tend to roll down or and then I don't have anything in between the boot and the back of my leg, and I don't like that. So I wanted to make a few pairs of longer socks. I have made socks where the leg is the same length as the foot or a little bit longer. And I almost find that those are a little bit too long for me and my liking. I think that this is about 6 inches. I think that that's a really good length for a longer sock for me. I don't know why, I just like it. So yeah, finished object. And I got to use my sock blockers. How exciting is that? Now, before we go on to other sock progress, I want to talk about the Skyrim Cardigan, because really this is what got most, if not all, of my love for quite some time. I literally didn't think I was going to have anything else to talk about for the first while. So the Skyrim Cardigan, I'm calling it that because I'm using Skyrim yarn, but this is the Long Line Cardigan by Joji Locatelli. That is Joji. She is a national treasure. And actually, she's a universal treasure because she's in Argentina, so she's not an American treasure. She's a worldwide treasure. She has fabulous patterns, and she also runs Joji & Co., which is like leather handmade things. Bags, backpacks, notions, pouches, things like that. This is my Mission Impossible project. And I have gotten so much progress, I can't even stand it. I am actually on color 6 of 8. Last time I was only on color 5. That may not be a big deal to you, it's a big deal to me. So the colorways are named after cities in Skyrim. This yarn was a gift from Leah, who runs Sheep Happens Yarn, and I just found out and realized that her website is no longer active, so I don't think she's dying at the moment. Perhaps she closed her business, because I haven't heard from her in quite a while. So I hope everything's okay, Leah. If you're watching, I'm sending you a giant virtual hug. And I'm using your fabulous, fabulous yarn. So the colorways, this one up here is Solitude. Then it fades into Dawn Star. Then Winter Hold. Morthal is this one. And then down here we have Windhelm. And then we're getting into some darker blues. This is White Run. So we will have 3 more colors after this one. Let me show you how much I have done. I can spread this out a little bit. This may not seem like a huge amount of progress to you. This took me a solid week. Like, this is, what is that? Maybe 4 inches? Probably 4 inches from the top of this stitch marker down to here. I mean, 1 row takes me 20 minutes. My gauge is about 10 rows an inch, which is insane. So this is a huge amount of progress. I don't know where I got the mojo from, honestly. I really don't. I just only wanted to work on this. And so that's what I did. I was like, you know what? It's gonna get all the love. And you can see here, this is like the solid panel, and then this is where I started fading in the 6th color. And now I am working straight in the 6th color. So I am actually going to put this on. I'm gonna have to unclip. I have a ball of yarn in here attached to the sleeve, because I thought that it would be a good idea to try and work the sleeves at the same time as the body, which is not a good idea. It's not. It's simply not. Let's see if I can. There's a knitting needle around that one. So it's not really gonna work, I don't think. Kind of. It'll kind of work. So you can see it's got a shawl collar, and if I can stand up without ruining anything and slipping stitches off the needle, I have gotten it to here. So it is right at my hip bone. My hip bone is right here, and that's where it is, which is delightfully exciting. It feels like a real project now. I mean, I still am gonna have to do the sleeves afterwards, and I'm gonna have to figure out my notes from a year ago, more than a year ago, to pick up the stitches, and then figure out helical knitting to fade the sleeves. It's gonna be a mess, honestly. Let's see if I can. Oh. There's just so many strings. So I have this right here attached to the inside of the cardigan. I'm going to clip it back. It's clipped with a chip clip so that it stops getting in my way, honestly. So yeah, this is definitely a Mission Impossible project. It just is It's interesting that it's pulling a little bit with the darker over here, but I think it looks lovely. I am really happy with the fade that I'm doing. Definitely getting a little bit faster at purling because every other row I have to purl. So let's see how far I am. I have 50, 60, 70, 4 more rows plus, how many of this one? 74, 84. I have about 90. I think I have 90 rows left. That's crazy. 90 rows. What's 9 times? That's 1,800 minutes, which is a lot of hours. What's 1,800 divided by 12? That would be 90. Yeah, so I don't know how many hours that is, but probably like 30. A work week worth of hours just to finish the body of this cardigan. And then I still have to do the sleeves. So I really don't know where the inspiration came to just really sit down and like hammer through some of this knitting. I have no idea, but I'm happy because that's more progress than that cardigan has seen in a long time. And I'm pretty darn excited about it. It's just so beautiful. I know I'm gonna wear it to death when it's done. It's just so complicated. It takes so much brain power, and that's such at a premium for me right now. So, I'm really, really excited with the progress that has been made on it though. I mean, 4 inches, that's more progress than I've had on anything in a long time. So, party, I'm having a party. Let's continue talking about knitting and we'll finish with the 2 crochet projects. So I told you last time that I was gonna go with Nova to my local yarn shop, which I did. I had some birthday money. I had $25 that I got for my birthday that I hadn't been spending. My birthday was in April. I was just saving it for when we went to the yarn store, and I saved it in my fingering weight bin for my yarn stash. And when I went in there, I realized that I also had another $25 from Christmas that I hadn't spent. I didn't even remember not spending that. But Nova was only 2 weeks old then, and I don't really remember Christmas much at all, honestly. So I must have at that point like stuck it in there and been like, I'll spend that on some yarn at some point. So I actually had $50, and I went to the yarn store and spent all of it, of course, plus a couple extra dollars. But what I bought was sock yarn. I don't know why I'm suddenly in a sock place. I haven't been in a sock place for like a year and a half, honestly. I think I knit one or 2 pairs of socks last year. And of course this year I knit 2 for the whole year. I don't know why, but socks seem to be what I'm currently obsessed with. So I'm gonna show you the yarn, but they're already started. I've already started the projects. They didn't even make it into my stash. The first one was a Sauberball Crazy in the colorway Fliederduft. I don't know. I don't speak German. The reason I saw this yarn is because it's really pretty, and also I really like this yarn, and it's special to me because I've had 2 balls of it before in my life. One of them I got in the UK when Josiah and I were there in 2018, and the other ball I got in Orlando when I got to spend the day with Kalisha of the Quirky Monday Craft Cast, and Clarizabeth of Crochet Cakes, and Caroline, who is her mom from the Mind and Muse podcast. So those 2 balls of yarn were really special to me. Both of them have been made into socks. And when I saw another ball in this beautiful colorway, I've never seen this yarn at my local yarn store before, or anywhere around here for that matter. I had to buy it. I love it. Now Sauberball it's a two ply. So you can see that it's kind of marled like that. There's 2 strands of yarn plying together. And I have found that it's really hard wearing. I have worn those socks a lot, and they're fine. There's like hardly any pilling whatsoever. They're very hard wearing socks. I believe it's 75 superwash wool and 25% nylon. Yes, biodegradable nylon. This is one long color, so you're not gonna get, even if you wound off and split this into 50-gram balls, you're not gonna get a color repeat on this. So the socks will be sisters, not twins. But I actually already started it and did the entire cuff. So again, cast on 64 stitches, top down, 2.25 millimeter needles, my Chalgu red lace. I did 15 rounds of 2x2 rib, which, let me tell you, counting rows in this marled yarn is very difficult, especially in ribbing. I counted it like 17 times to make sure that I had 15. But honestly, if I have 16, who cares, right? It's just a sock. So I've maybe done 2 rows of straight knitting on this. So I wanted to get through this cuff just so that I could have something to pick up and work on when I don't need when I don't have time to focus, basically. So that is the first thing I purchased. And sock number 1, just a cuff. The second skein I purchased was a sock set. I'm like, what? I don't know. It's living in my other sock project bag. I have 2 of these. They're both from Slip Stitch Studios. This one I bought, the rainbow llamacorn bag. This one with popsicles and ice cream on it was a gift from Claudia of Crochet Luna a long time ago, years ago. And I have dragged this bag all over the country and the world. And it is perfect condition. I love it to death. So this yarn was 100 gram single skein and then a 20 gram mini to go with it. And it's a local, I think it's local. I'm not sure if it's local, but it's hand dyed. It's called May Fibers. I've never heard of this dyer before. The colorway is Maybell and Bear. So the big one is Maybell, the small one is Bear. It is an 85% superwash, 15% nylon. And you get 400 yards for 100 grams. So I could not resist. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. I'm just gonna keep saying this because it's so pretty. I love this, and this is the mini that came with it in this gray. So this is Maybell, and this is Bear. And Bear is coming unraveled. So this is a sock set that came together. I wound it up. I immediately cast it on because I couldn't help myself. And I am at the heel. I don't know where isn't this the most beautiful yarn you've ever seen? This is gorgeous. And I'm almost halfway through the heel. So you can see that it's like bigger on one side than the other. I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 short rows, and I need to get to 11 before I start working back up the other side of the heel. So, I love this so much. I'm doing contrast cuffs and toes. I'm gonna do the heel, of course, in just the same yarn. I just thought that would look cute. And I am delighted with this. It's so pretty. I just want to look at it and not even knit on it. I have knit 3 pairs of socks out of hand-dyed yarn, and they came from a patron of this podcast and a lovely friend. Her name is Amanda. She sent me a long time ago 2 sock sets from Hue Loco, and then maybe 3 sock sets from Hue Loco, and I made socks out of all 3 of them. And the whole time I was like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I'm putting this fancy, expensive yarn, like I'm making it into socks for my feet. If you have never made socks out of hand-dyed yarn, do it. Your feet will thank you. They're delightful. It's so, so comfy and gorgeous and squishy, and it makes you feel so fancy to wear beautiful yarn on your feet. In fact, while I was knitting these, I remembered how much I loved those socks, and I went and pulled them out, and I've been wearing them again. Even though it's hot, like I'll put them on at night when it cools down a little bit. So this is the second thing I bought, was a sock set, and it was just, I'm so happy with it. And I'm also thrilled that like both of these are not even making it into my stash. They're just immediately getting cast on and worked on. I'm so happy about it. Whew, water break. This is a reminder for you to drink some water. I had some tea, but I already drank it this morning. This morning has been I've been a bit hurried and rushed, and that is not going to change for the rest of the day. So the 2 crochet projects I have been working on, one is a blanket and one is a design that I showed you an itty bitty swatch for last week. In fact, both of these are designs. This first one is living in a bag that says, today's goal, keep the tiny humans alive. So far, killing it. This bag came from Emmy, who is also a lovely friend and patron of this podcast. This is Valley Yarns Haydenville. It's 60% merino, 40% acrylic. And you get 100 grams and 220 yards is worsted weight. This is red, obviously. I had 4 balls of this left over from the Christmas cabled cardigan that I made once upon a time. I did all the math, graded everything, so that I knew I would need 4 more balls. So I ordered that. And this, I am part of the way through the 4th ball, I think. Or maybe the 3rd ball. This is where I was last time. So I had done all of this before, and this is how much I've done since the last time I saw you. It's not a ton. It's what, 4, 8, 12, 13 rows maybe. I worked on this only one night. It was a Thursday night, and I have some girlfriends that come over usually every Thursday night, and we watch trash TV and eat popcorn. So currently we're watching Glow Up on Netflix. But before that, we were going through old seasons of America's Next Top Model, which, let me tell you, if you want an early 2000s trip down fashion lane, go watch that. So that's how much I did in that one night. During 2 episodes, I got through that much. And this stitch marker is like a crazy sheep. It's a keychain that I got in Ireland when my husband and I were there in 2018. And I made it into a stitch marker. It came with like several different sheep, and I made them all into stitch markers. So it's really special to have that on this blanket. This is the Omega blanket. I have to write out the pattern, of course. My plan actually is to write up the pattern for this once the sample is complete, and to write up the pattern for the Cozy Up blanket, which is the one made in Bernat Velvet yarn, and release them both at the same time. So that will probably be another month or 2 away, but yeah, really excited. So some progress on this one. I love it's just so easy to work on, and I'll probably be working on it again tonight because it's Thursday. When they come over, I'll be working on it again, just because it's so I don't have to pay attention. Like, I know exactly where I am in the pattern at all time. I don't have to look. It's worsted weight yarn, not fiddly. It's just super easy, and I like it. The last thing is a design that I'm working on. It doesn't have a name. I showed you a tiny swatch last time. And this yarn is Durable Color Cakes. It is cotton, 55% cotton, 45% acrylic. It's a fingering weight. You get 250 grams and 1,000 meters. I don't know how many yards that is, but probably like 1,000-ish. So Emmy, who is a patron, of course, and a friend, she sent me this. She sent me 1 ball of the regular, just 1 color of it, and then this, which is their color cake. It kind of reminds me of this sheepies. I like to say sheepies. I know that is not how you say it, so don't write me and be like, you can't pronounce that word. You're right, I cannot. My Florida mouth does not make that sound very well. So I was doing a swatch, and I had an original idea for this, and the yarn didn't work for that. So then I swatched again, and I was like, ooh, this is perfect. I'm going to make a wrap out of this. But I didn't want to do another swatch with this yarn. It's the same yarn as this. So I did my swatch like so. As you can see, it's on the bias. Now, I did this, and because math is so cool, I worked out all the calculations of how many stitches I could have per gram and how many grams there are, so I can get approximately 65 stitches per gram of yarn. There's 250 grams, which equals like 16,000 something stitches, which does not equal enough stitches to make a wrap. It simply doesn't. So I thought, okay, what if I ordered another one? But I really wanted this to be a 1 ball project of yarn. So I think actually what I'm going to do is use this stitch pattern. I'm still gonna make a wrap, but that will be, I'll go through my stash and find some just regular wool-ish blend yarn of some kind and make this into a wrap, because it will probably need, it's gonna need a lot. It needs, I could only make it 12 inches wide and 60 inches long with the amount of grams and yardage of this ball. But for a wrap to really like be proper. I think it needs to be 18 to 20 inches wide and about 70 to 80 inches long, depending. So this wasn't going to work for that, but I'm going to keep this stitch pattern and just simply wind up some other yarn and use that. So then I took that same swatch, I knew my gauge was spot on, and I calculated how many stitches and how many rows I could get if I made this into an asymmetrical triangle shawl. And it's going to be perfect, actually. It's going to be approximately, I want to think like 40, maybe 40 inches at the top, 30, I don't remember, 38 inches maybe at the top. And so I started it. I did this last night. Last night I had 2 hours to myself after Nova went to bed. She went to bed so well, no fussing. So by 7:30, I was able to sit on the couch until 9:30. I watched 2 episodes of Making the Cut on Amazon, which is basically Project Runway, but like on steroids a little bit, with Tim and Heidi Klum. Oh, so good. I love that show. So I got all of that time to myself and I did all of this. So yes, this is about 2 hours of work, but remember this is a fingering weight yarn. And this is how it's going to look. So I started from here and we've got increases and now I'm into the ribbing. This is going to be a really, really simple pattern. I increased the hook size on one of my swatches because originally I was using a 3mm. Now I'm at a 3.5 because I just love the drape that this gives. It's cotton, of course, cotton and acrylic. So it's not going to have the same kind of drape that wool does. You could absolutely make this in wool yarn or acrylic or any kind of yarn. It will totally work for that. But I wanted this stitch pattern in this yarn because it's so lightweight and the cotton really, really works for this. This will be like a perfect big Florida shawl that's actually not laced. It's kind of solid. So we may be able to wear this like even in the winter time, quote unquote. So you can see we've got some ribbing going on and then some solid sections. So right now I'm in obviously this part, yellow and blue. It's going to slowly start getting more blue and then it's going to be completely blue and green and then it'll be slowly more and more and more and then of course green and dark blue in the middle. So I'm pretty excited about this. I wanted this part to be the yellow, the skinniest part, and then slowly get into the blue as it grew. I didn't want to end with yellow. I wanted to start with yellow, if that makes sense. So I really like this. I may work on this tonight. I don't know. I want to work on the Omega blanket, but I also want to work on this. This is so easy. I'm very much in a place of designing easy to work items. And I have to show you this stitch marker because I love it. It's a little derpy llama. I love this stitch marker so much. So yeah, I'm excited about this project. And I don't have a name for it yet, but I will. And hopefully, maybe tomorrow or Saturday. I actually don't think I have anything I have to do on Saturday, which is exciting because last weekend I was busy. Friday night, Saturday most of the day, Sunday literally all day, and Monday all day into the evening until like 9:30 p.m. So I'm pretty tired from that. So I'm very excited to have a Saturday off. But maybe I'll go in my stash and dig out enough yarn to make a wrap given that same stitch pattern. We'll see, I don't know. Okay, I only have a little bit of time left before I have to go. So I wanted to give you an update, share. So this is the end of the Yarny content. So if that's all you're here for, totally cool. I'm going to talk now about something I talked about before, which is that I feel like my hormones have been a little bit crazy. Not just since Nova was born, of course, since Nova was born, but in the last couple of months, especially after I stopped nursing her. The month after that, my cycle was out of control, which, okay, that's once you stop nursing, I get it. And then the next month it was a little bit better. And then last month it was crazy again. And I've talked about this before, but I haven't been feeling like myself. And I know instantly people are going to be like, well, it's probably like PPD or something. It's truly not. Like I've been depressed before in my life. I have anxiety and I know what those symptoms are, and this is not that. The thing that I can describe it as only is I feel like I'm PMSing 50 to 70% of the month. And not PMSing like I'm not biting people's heads off. It's the fatigue. It's the only way I know how to describe it is the PMS fatigue that I would normally get for a few days before my period. It's constant. Like, it doesn't matter if I sleep 7.5 hours or 8.5 hours. That's probably the max I'm going to get, but I get 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep every single night usually, because unless something's wrong, Nova sleeps through the night pretty consistently. So I'm getting a fair amount of sleep, but I don't feel like I'm getting the right amount of sleep. I'm so tired. Like, I have this brain fog, and like, I find it so hard to concentrate. And also I'm very emotional, which is why I'm comparing it to PMS. Like, I just will cry about anything. And so I've been obviously questioning this for a couple of months. Like, will it level out? Am I overreacting to something? And finally I was like, you know what? I don't need to live like this. Like, this is maybe what I want to say. Like, we need to advocate for ourselves, especially women, because I feel like we've received this messaging that you just suck it up. And if you're a parent, like, you just suck it up because you have a human depending on you and you don't want to spend money to go to the doctor and all of this stuff. You have to advocate for yourself. You are not crazy. You are the person who knows what's going on in your body the best. And I know that something is not right. Like, I don't feel like myself. I'm okay with PMSing for a couple days a month, but not for most of the month when I should be feeling fine. And so what I did is I made an appointment with a naturopath who I saw yesterday. And I've also made an appointment with a primary care doctor, which I have to wait a couple weeks for that. But I want to get some blood work because my suspicion is one of two things or both. Either my hormones are pretty out of whack still, and I need some help getting those back in balance, or I'm deficient in something, some kind of mineral or vitamin, iron maybe, or both, because growing a human takes everything out of you and whacks out your hormones. So I went to a naturopath yesterday, and she gave me a couple of things to take and some tea to drink, which taste not good, honestly. I don't usually put sweetener in my tea, and I'm having to put sweetener in this tea because I don't like it, but I'm supposed to drink like 2 cups a day. So I don't know. I slept pretty well last night. So I mean, I'm supposed to be on this for 2 weeks to see if it helps. And by then I will have gone to the actual doctor, and hopefully we'll have blood work as well. So I hope that I can get some kind of answer, some kind of fix, because I don't like feeling like I'm that out of focus and I'm that like unable to process what's going on in life for what feels like no reason, but I'm sure there's a reason. There's something physiologically in my body that's making me feel this way. But it's not like everybody has days like that, but to have them on end and what's strange is to me is I'll wake up in the morning so tired, and usually like that will last most of the day, and by like 4 p.m. it like wears off. So I don't know what the heck that is, but I've got some things to try. I've already had my 1 cup of tea this morning. I'll have another tea later when I take, one of the things she gave me to take was ginseng blend. There's no caffeine or anything, and I don't know what, I have a list of what all she gave me, but I'm going to try that. And then I'm going to go to the doctor and get some blood work done to see like, what is it that I need to balance my body back out from the crazy experience of growing an entire human for 9 months and then getting her out of my body and then growing her for another 6 months with no other outside help. Just nursed her for 6 months. And then now she's on formula, and that's pretty great, but I don't know, my body feels weird. I don't feel like myself, and I want to feel like myself. And you deserve to feel like yourself. So if you are feeling like something is off in your body and you've been like second guessing yourself or questioning yourself, you are the person who knows. Even if you're overreacting a little, get it checked out. You may not be, right? Like, I have not been seeing anyone for a couple of months because I just am thinking, oh, well, it'll level out by itself, but it's not. It's not leveling out by itself. So I'm going to get someone who knows what they're talking about to help me. And you can do the same for yourself. You are the person who is inside your body. You can trust your intuition. You can trust your gut feeling as to whether or not something is going on that needs to be addressed. And if you go to somewhere and it doesn't, like, you don't feel good about it, you get a second opinion. You can always go somewhere else. So that's my rant for today. I'll update y'all as to, how I'm feeling in the future. Hopefully in 2 weeks I'll feel a little bit better, but we'll see. And I'm really tired right now. Like, I could just lay down and sleep for like 3 hours. Of course I can't, because the baby has to be awake in 15 minutes. And then we have to leave the house 10 minutes after that. Have kids, y'all. Definitely have kids. I know it'll get easier, but sometimes I'm just really tired. The weird thing is, all I want is to be away from her for a little bit. Like, I just want to have a day where I don't have to be around her. And then the second I'm away from her for like 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, I miss my baby. Motherhood. It's a mental illness. Truly. She can go to bed and I'm like, oh, thank God she's finally asleep. Like, it's so great. I can have this time to myself. And then I'll spend like an hour looking at photos of her. What is wrong with me? I don't love her so much. I can't stand it. So I have to go. I know this is a little bit of a shorter, probably rushed and rambly episode than normal, but that's just how the scheduling worked this week. And I really wanted to make sure to get an episode up because so much progress, you guys, on the Skyrim Cardigan. So definitely join Stashtober, October 1st to October 31st. Pick a pattern from any of the designers. Go to my Instagram's link below. You'll see the post with all the designers. And in the Ravelry group, there's a list of the designers as well. Any of those patterns you can use. Make sure you use yarn from Stash. I would love, love, love if you're either in Ravelry or on Instagram, if you would comment and tell me what you're going to be making. And I'm very excited about that. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That just helps me know that I'm putting out stuff on the internet that's not ridiculous. Or maybe it is ridiculous, but you still like it. You can subscribe if you want to be kept up to date on new videos as they appear on this channel, usually every 2 weeks, sometimes vlogs in between. And then leave me a comment. Let me know what you're working on. Even if you're not joining the Stashtober, comment below and tell me what project is bringing you the most excitement right now. I was super excited about the Skyrim Cardigan the last 2 weeks. What project is giving that for you? And as always, a huge, giant, special thank you to all of my patrons who are dear, dear friends. And our patron Zoom is coming up next week. We have a monthly knit hangout, knit/crochet/yarn chat hangout. I'm very excited about that. That'll be next week. So until I see you again, take care of yourself, believe yourself, be kind to yourself. You are worth it. Happy crafting, and I'll see you in 2 weeks, y'all. Bye.